Last visit to the Kingdom, Ronnie O'Sullivan made 2 147s in the same match. And the man sitting on my right-hand side, I'm delighted to say, Neil Robertson, was the party pooper in the final.
Yes, I was, but yeah, it was a wonderful final, but the occasion with Ronnie making the 2 147s in the same session against Chris Wakeland is you know, something that we probably may never see again.
We'll see that an awful lot from Shaun Murphy, that kind of sweetly cute shot.
167 on, but a great scoring chance to get the first frame on the board.
Neil, you've done an awful lot in the game. World Championships, basically you've won everything. But to win here in Saudi Arabia against O'Sullivan in that classic final, and for an absolutely huge amount of ranking points, that must have been one of the highlights of your career.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was the #1 sort of highlight. I think you know, playing Ronnie in a final of that magnitude, being 7-2 up in front of him, and then all of a sudden he came back at me really strong, 7-2 to 7-all, which, you know, felt like it took about half an hour for that to happen, and you know, to win the last frame 10-9 in the way that I did was certainly a very proud moment of mine for sure.
Good early chance for Shaun Murphy, who has been the heaviest scorer on the tour this season. With his 2 centuries this afternoon, took his total for the season to 35. If you can get to 50 by Christmas, that's a very notable number.
Yeah, it will be, and of course there's the prize for making 100 centuries in a season as well. And yeah, I think if you can get to around that 50 mark by the first half of the season, then, you know, with the Championship League coming up, of course, where, you know, if you keep playing in the groups, there's a lot of frames to be played. I'm sure it'll be something that's on Shaun's mind, and you know, I think he would love to give it a go.
Shaun Murphy.
You always get a pretty good idea with Ronnie when he starts a match, you know, seeing how he plays the first frame, see how he's looking around the table, you know, see what his long game is like as well. If he's knocking in difficult balls early on in a match, he seems to sustain that through. So I'm not too sure if he'll go into the pack here or try and pick off the reds. Yeah, he's choosing to pick them off. But he varies that up sometimes. He doesn't often always go into the pack. Me, myself, there I would have gone into the pack, but Ronnie's, you know, his cue ball is so good that he really backs himself to pick off the reds and then waits for that absolute perfect angle. He tends to prefer going into the pack of the reds off the black than he does the blue. I think he's sort of leaves less to chance that way. But now he is absolutely perfect to play on the blue here, and the pack is set really, really nice. So you won't even need to hit them too hard to get a good split on the reds.
End of break. I do agree with Stephen Hendry's point, though, from a little earlier, that it seems to me that O'Sullivan will revel in this atmosphere tonight. He's a real showman.
Yeah, and he's already shown that in Saudi anyway. I mean, he won the very first event here in Riyadh, and you know, he's opened the academy now, which has fantastic facilities. So hopefully, you know, we see a lot of players come through there, you know, getting to the final of the Saudi Masters. And it's just a place I think that he really enjoys to come to, and he brings the best crowds as well, no matter where he travels around the world. And yeah, I'm sure he'll be looking to do the same here.
In his first match in this particular tournament, in the inaugural staging, he was, even by his standards, sublime. 3 centuries. He beat John Higgins 4-0 in no time. He outscored Higgins 489 points to 4.
Yeah, that's the thing when you play Ronnie, you don't even have to do that much wrong, you know, to lose the frames. Sort of going back to my final with him from 7-2 to 7-all, you know, I didn't really even miss anything easy. I didn't make that many crucial errors. He just played almost sort of faultless safety, put me on the back foot, and whenever he got in, he played shots that just basic amateurs could play, but he was just perfect on every single ball. And that's why he wins the frame so quickly as well, is because he's very rarely out of position. There's not much thinking time to do, and he, you know, his brain thinks like a computer when he's break building, that it's so fast that, you know, a few frames can just go by in 20 minutes, you know, which puts you under a lot of pressure. So he's, yeah, I mean, look, he's the best player in the world to watch, and you know, it's been a great pleasure of mine to be able to compete with him for so long, and you know, hopefully there's many more years yet.
And when it comes to his tactical awareness, I think it's a part of his game that's sometimes a little overlooked. When he wants to be defensive and he's in that kind of mindset, he can be right up there with the very best.
Yeah, he can, and he often talks about that, his experience working with Ray Reardon, where Ray was telling him sort of the exact spots on the cushions to put the opponents in trouble. And then when Ronnie learnt that, and you know, the speed that he sort of sees the shots, when you play a safety shot and he comes to the table and he plays his safety shot, it's like you almost haven't even got back to your chair yet before you then have to play. And you know, that constant sort of turnover of the shots can sort of you know, put a lot of players under pressure. Actually, it doesn't allow anyone to settle, and that's something you have to get used to when you play Ronnie. You have to get used to a lot of very quick shot turnover, and yeah, it's just again, it just adds to, you know, how great a player he is, that he's so hard to bog down, because you know, because he's always looking to get on the front foot. He's always looking to get you into trouble where, you know, some players, even top players, will be happy to play a few containing shots. Ronnie always tries to never waste a shot. He always tries to win the frame through a great safety, or through getting to win the frame than his.
Last week's Champion of Champions wasn't a happy experience for Murphy, but I think the rest of his season most certainly has been.
Good save. Scene.
When he struck that, I wasn't quite sure whether it was going to be accurate enough, but the pace, of course, facilitated the ball dropping.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting watching that. It looked like it just probably pulled up a millimetre or so as well, because it was looking like it was going more into the near jaw than that. And obviously the first day as well, with the brand new cloth, balls are more inclined to slide in a little bit easier than what they would on, you know, day 2 or 3. Still a bit of work to do though to win this frame. Ooh, I thought that red was going to kiss the black and possibly in the break there, but no, he played that really well, and yeah, should win the first frame from here now and settle down nicely.
Yeah, this is frame ball.
30.
And the plant that he worked out skillfully looks like being very profitable.
30.
Murphy's only regrets here, well, one, a poor positional shot there, but not enough on the table to make another century. But the main thing was making the superior start, and that's precisely what he's done. Murphy knocked in a plant, a 53 break followed through, and unscathed against Saudi Arabian wildcard players. And now Murphy's back in action. So, Neil, surely, having played already on this table in match conditions earlier, it must be an advantage for Murphy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think evidence of that was when Ronnie was nicely on the red and playing up for the blue. He overran it by probably about 5 or 6 inches, and that was the reason why the break ended, was because he couldn't go into the pack as firm as he would have liked off the blue. If he was straighter on the blue, he would have been able to inject more pace into the cue ball and spread the reds really far and open wide. So, you know, Ronnie will take a mental note of that and realise, okay, this table is actually playing really, really fast. And Ronnie is the best player I've ever seen at adjusting to the pace of a table. So I don't think it'll be very long before he gets up to speed with it.
An interesting wrinkle in their head-to-heads. Yes, it is 14-3 to O'Sullivan, which is obviously one-sided. But 3 wins for Murphy, all of them on big occasions. Helped by pots like that, by the way. League 7-3, 2017 Champion of Champions. The other win over O'Sullivan, 5-4 quarter-final of the German Masters, in one of the game's great arenas, the Tempodrome in Berlin. So he knows what's required.
6.
Sure, not completely sure if the red would pass the black because it was moved from its spot earlier in the frame. So he's got the red on the middle that he could play for here. And it'd be interesting to see where the black goes, actually. The black will always pot, but as you can see there, the red doesn't. So that'll be something he'll be thinking about, trying to land low on the black at some point in the break and just play a glancing cannon on the red. Yeah, and he's looking to do it straight away. that's why Shaun is such a great break builder, because he sees the problem early on in the frame and chooses to get rid of the red. And nicely on the red below the pack actually, so be able to play this and disturb a few more reds and
20.
hopefully land on the black. It's a bit of a tricky shot. It's always about judging the pace really over sort of whether the red goes in or not. Played that really well, even if he's playing it with screw. That's a great pot.
Let's see. Shaun Murphy, thirds.
Even a potter as skilled as Murphy can't keep going to the well, but
Yeah, and Ronnie doesn't often like playing the dump shot because he believes it starts a negative sequence of safety shots, but it doesn't look like he's got much choice here, so he'll have to just get the white onto the black cushion, the top cushion there.
with the reds like this, all the colours nicely open, you can understand Murphy's due care and attention. He knows what O'Sullivan's capable of. 5 times O'Sullivan has beaten Murphy, making 2 centuries. Twice he's beaten Murphy, making 3 centuries in the match.
Yeah, one of the reasons why he was taking so long over that, I mean, he didn't take a long time, but it was Ronnie spots the opportunity to put you in so much trouble from safety shots straight away. So Shaun wanted to sort of be one step ahead of Ronnie, thinking, okay, if I leave the cue ball here, can he put me in trouble? And Shaun felt as though that Ronnie couldn't, so that's why he left the cue ball where he did.
And had the red that O'Sullivan missed just kissed into the black, that could have been calamitous for him.
I think Ray Reardon used to always, he used to call the bulk colours the soldiers. You know, they're the ones that sort of like block the path of the cue ball, and working with Ronnie really sort of like drilled that into him. And I remember reading it in Ronnie's book actually. He always said that Ray always used to tell him, just, you know, get the white behind the soldiers, and that's a great example of it there. The yellow is blocking so many of the reds, and as is the brown. It's put Shaun in so much trouble. And when you combine that with the great length cue ball, you know, this is a very, very difficult shot to well, not only just sort of like get safe, but you know, it's very hard to not leave a pot on here in any kind of way.
The crowd urge, come on Ronnie, they say. Nothing easy about this. Nothing easy at all. Now it could be a lot more straightforward. Really good opening red.
Yeah, and it was a horrible shot to play as well, because when Shaun's, you know, cannoned into those other reds, he would have been expecting a much easier chance than that. So he was able to get his mindset right for that shot, and yeah, executed it perfectly. It's not really the shot you want to play without having potted a ball for nearly 20 minutes.
Not just a really good pot on that opening red, but also to avoid the traffic to obtain position on the pink. This is a beautiful table, quite obviously. O'Sullivan is the best player on a really good table I think we've ever seen. But the frightening thing is, and I will stand by this, and it doesn't happen too often these days, but he's the best player I've ever seen on a really bad table. I've seen him play some wonderful stuff on an absolute stinker.
Yeah, he came to Joe Perry and my my club years ago now, because a friend of mine, Steve Misford from Australia, was renowned for putting on really good tips, and Ronnie came into the club and got a new tip, and once the tip was put on, he just grabbed a set of balls and he went on to just one of the random club tables, which wasn't on a particularly nice cloth, and he made it look like it was absolutely brand new. It was like the nicest table you've ever seen. So no, I definitely agree with that as well. Sometimes, you know, in China and particularly Shanghai, where it can be quite humid, you know, he's made the table look so easy where a lot of us really struggled on it.
The example I always quote is the Asian Classic, which was played in Thailand in the mid-90s. Beat Brian Morgan in the final. No one else could fathom the table apart from him.
40.
Wow, and I'd like to see that pink again. Okay, he's got no position, so...
Sullivan, 46.
Might not be as destructive to keep it out. Well, he did have position. I don't think Murphy could pop that red. So maybe the fractionally missed pink to middle will prove costly. Just thinking about that pink for a moment, Neil, I don't think people realise just how tight the middles are on these match tables in comparison with normal club tables.
Yeah, the corners, you know, still obviously much tighter than what you would get on the club tables, but I think the middle pockets is definitely, you know, you find a big difference there because of the sharpness of, especially of the first draw. Yeah, the middle pockets are extremely tough, and obviously when you're rolling a ball into the middle pocket on these professional tables, the nap doesn't pull it in from the far draw in, so whether you're rolling it in dead weight or playing it firm, you definitely need to be, just goes to show how tough they are.
Shaun Murphy, 1.
Another big difference between club tables and match tables, how quick they are, and so nestling in behind a ball colour like Murphy's just done there, much tougher than it might appear. Murphy asking the referee, Kevin Dabrowski, to clean the cue ball. Murphy cues so well, and when he's confident and flowing, he pots from distance brilliantly.
Yeah, and already he's sort of sent some signs to Ronnie that he wasn't going to be turning anything down. He's already knocked in a couple of brilliant long reds earlier on in the match. And that one there, you know, he could have definitely been excused for playing safe, but he thought it was a great chance to win the frame off it. And this yellow's a great shot as well. Always had the cover of the green and the pink, so played it really sensibly there. So yeah, he's looking great for 2-0, and you know, in a best out of 7, you know, Ronnie's got to start sort of getting something together soon.
Held the cue ball a little too well there for his own good. but with Murphy's repeatable, dependable cue action. I doubt he'll miss this. It was all net. And so, in this big money match, Shaun Murphy is on the money, and he's halfway to what would be a very satisfying victory. Shaun Murphy's authentic quality and experience.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 5.
That's a really good shot, actually, from Shaun. I don't think he didn't want to play the slower safety shot and play it off 2 cushions, because I think he's worried about a red possibly going towards the hole. Yeah, so Ronnie's way